Hello everyone! Develop green buildings and constantly promote green and low-carbon development. Promote harmony between man and nature. Prefabricated buildings actively respond to the National Green Building Development Strategy. In such an era background, we should keep up with the pace of the times. Please follow me to open the door of prefabricated learning. Let's invite enterprise teacher Zheng Lindsay to explain to you.
Hello everyone! In this lecture, we are going to identify the detailed drawings of precast concrete composite girders in the actual project. We have mentioned the three kinds of construction of slabs, walls, and stairs in the first few chapters. There are reference atlas specifications in our National Standard Atlas. So, there's no corresponding atlas specifications for our composite girders. So today, we will give you a detailed picture understanding of the precast concrete composite girder in a practical project. Then it is divided into three parts: the overview of the project, the basic structure study of the precast concrete composite girder, and the study of the reinforcement of the precast concrete composite girder. First of all, let's take a look at the overview of the project. This project is a high-rise residential project in a southern city. 10 floors above ground and 1 floor underground. The structural system. It is prefabricated, integral, concrete zero wall structure, of which 4 to 10 floors is our elevation of 8.350, till the 25.750 is a standard layer of the prefabricated type, and the average height of the floor is 2.9 meters. So this time, let's study the L3 girder in the figure. Let's look at the general situation of the detailed picture of this girder. The first is its template drawing, which contains the representative dimensions of the entire build. The second is a reinforcement drawing. And the third is a schedule and its cross-sectional drawing, which need to be fully displayed in the drawings of this chapter. Let's first look at a basic structural reading of the prefabricated concrete composite girder. First of all, the length of the composite girder. And the entire girder length in the drawing is represented in three parts, namely the middle 2,620 millimeters and the left and right sides of a shelf width of 10 millimeters each, adding up to a total of 2,640 millimeters length. At the same time, its left and right sides have been extended 182 millimeters. And the girder height of the composite girder is 294 plus 66, that is 360 millimeters. Then this composite girder, as the name suggests, it is divided into prefabricated and post-cast. And one of its post-cast composite layers is 140 millimeters thick. At the same time, we need to note that the girder should have a handover notch in the middle of its primary and secondary girders. So, the size of one of its cross notches is 200 millimeters times 190 millimeters. Then, this is the top view of the girder. From the top view of the girder, we can know that the girder width of the composite girder is 200 millimeters. A triangle symbol with M representing the formwork surface. The girder has two hanging points. Each hanging point is 500 millimeters from both sides. The triangle with C and the inner belt J represent. C represents the rough surface and J represents the keyway surface. Through this picture, we can see the size of the keyway, 128 millimeters times 164 millimeters. So this is a basic size shape of which we can identify the relevant information. Let's take a look at the contents of the schedule. From the schedule, we can know the number of this girder. according to a number specification on this item is 4F10FPCL1. That is to say, our standard layer 4, 10 layers. We all have this PCL1 numbered girder. Its concrete volume is 0.169 cubic meters. This composite girder, its prefabricated weight is 0.423 tons. And above this girder, there are 2 hanging nail embeddings. That is, our embedded parts. There are no other embedded parts, such as pipe fitting or other related parts. Only 2 hanging nails. The number of hanging nails is 2. We just saw that the distance between each side and the beam edge is 500 millimeters. So we need to communicate with the manufacturer to determine the type of lifting nails and use them in production. A decorative floor of this project is 7 floors. The elevation is 8.350 to 25.750. The concrete strength of the composite girder is C35. Then each floor has a girder of the same number. Then, in total, there are 7 precast concrete composite girders of the same kind. So let's look at the reading of the reinforcement of the prefabricated concrete composite girder. First of all, the reinforcement table in the schedule of this girder. CJ1 is the bottom reinforcement of the girder. Through the schedule, we can know that the girder reinforcements are 2. The diameter is 16 millimeters. Then the protruding reinforcement shall be bent upward at a 1:6 slope for a length of 30 millimeters. Why bend? Because this girder should be handed over to the main girder. Then, according to our avoidance rules, when the primary and secondary girders are handed over, the reinforcement avoidance should be the secondary girder. Then the upward bend of this girder should be 30 millimeters. Then the total length of the girder is 3014 millimeters. Then there are YG1, a YG1B, and YG2. The girders of these 3 model numbers are the web reinforcement. The diameter is 12 millimeters. The upper 2 and lower 2 in total 4. But as we saw earlier, there is a reservation notch of 200 millimeters times 190 millimeters. Then if we postcast this notch, so YG1A and YG1B are 2 truncated girders. Its size is 993 millimeters and 1357 millimeters. Then YG2 not be truncated. So its size is usually 2580 millimeters. In this figure, we can see the red arrow corresponding to YG1, YG1B, and YG2. If we don't have a postcast notch, then it should be a total of 4 girders instead of the total of 6 now. Let's take a look at the LJ1, which means that we have a total of 15 cross ties, 6 mm in diameter and 322 mm in length. It is arranged in a staggered way. Put one, separate one. Then we look at the girder hoopings. Speaking of girder hoopings, JJ1 and the JJ2 are girder hoopings, have a total of 12 plus 7. That is 19. The diameter is 8 millimeters. The spacing of the hoopings is 200 millimeters. Why do we divide the hoopings into 2 parts? Because we can see from here that at the postcast notch of our hooping, according to our specifications, it is necessary to add reinforced hoopings. So get J2A. It is a reinforced hooping, a total of 7. GJ1 model is a conventional hooping. The entire girder, because it is secondary, ISO, in addition to the postcast notch, requires dizipified reinforcement. The other are 200 spacing, non-dizipied hoopings. And this girder uses a combination of close forms of hoopings. That's all for this course. Thank you.
The above is the explanation of the knowledge points in this subsection, and I wish you a happy learning journey in the process of learning the prefabricated concrete building construction course.